见着了等的也是，年的人家老的所所也被这所些没多少。日绕人些年的肩膀的。三界现了美的不外也，如果难得现度，有把修可三样做了没做难了。色那三酸的眼睛就大了乱着那些样些了，拉面就给我这咋的水强在我南去见小巴达。也是也让个先做我也给我将在大给就是把他就做别讲究全部。Page number 46.
46页。
帕贝亚那阿yan Dewa西多看求生盖杰瑞斯者，一点光不都是决定吧。把定个见个这个家庭，你的家庭要真的干的，特多多接大我多有钱，人民的个个接大给也。天本娘忙个钱要得索拉玛更看上我所望的求。也怎样落得没结缘，就在那旁我那个家，拉没见老三郎就三江滩街的当天就是街。按照他也大的东北修，讲究三八看的是有吧，太大关就没了热热热。
Nazi tamche radang shenkam rabzong yishi yoro bazo. Chedang Nazi tamche jena teni dozang ge denpa zikpa sachenpori yuko sachok senpa tamche ge zinga teni nawa semche rahu so teni dila shedang ja tong dao me, ni dingi tokpa yo ma ri. 이 민나들이 매와 말이더라. 고당 신감 장매 바탕지 들이 죽어 나왔다 들 로그자 송 따라서 로그 신감 장매 봐서 때 ram종게 들이 산촉 생거라우라 들이 차는 거 요래 들이 들라 자고 신감 담더라 죽어를 롱거 송하라 롱거 니바가 진지 신감송 니바가 진 강이나 니바我们去罗志强去吧，特把进步买些后面吧的差别上就什么大家都不错啊这种那我们自己人就大把就好了多把出把到进强콜사비 사진 보는 거 가지고 선바 중바 특바 전부 마셔서 이렇게 너무 두두고 거다신 감 장미바 사용 거요래 다다베 실len자 통나나 이게 사용 거예 세베 제 용왕한테 당보면서 세운데 사족센터 대성아 유몽한테 시간을 전도고 시간을 아무로 진짜 통나나 이 사용 거요래 대라들은 용왕한테 마다바가는 용왕한테 유마로 적게 요래 된저와 침보 요래 이 사촉생 시설들이 다 보신 한 랑종인 봐 드니 저 나디다 유모 벌들 냐와다 다 랑종인 봐 드니 대기 봐 하고나 드니 내가 이 집에 봐 좀 얘기 있지 드니 대기 요래
So I'm going to page 25 in the small print. First it says, recognizing and giving rise to certainty in the fact that everything comprised by appearance and existence is the deity and the Pure Land, the self-arising manifestation of primordial wisdom. And that is how it is perceived by someone who abides on the ultimate level, so by bodhisattvas who have attained high bhumis, high level. And so then to them, they perceive all appearances as the natural reflection of the mind. Just like when from a crystal rainbow lights emerge. There is no dualistic thought within their mind. But that does not mean that nothing appears. Things appear actually in myriad ways. There are countless Pure Lands and forms of the Buddhas. So from the space like Dharmakaya, the rainbow like Sambhogakaya appears in many different ways, in countless Pure Lands and so on. And these are all a natural reflection of the mind of bodhicitta. So from the Dharmakaya, the Sambhogakaya arises, and the Sambhogakaya is endowed with 5 certainties. And the first one, so those Pure Lands of the Sambhogakayas are endowed with those 5 certainties. The first one is the certainty of the place, and that is the Pure Land of Akanishta, the Dharmadatsu Pure Land of Akanishta. Then the second is the certainty of the timing, that is a continuous and ongoing an never-ending turning wheel, like continuously, ongoingly, in terms of timing. And then the certain teacher is the Buddha Vajradhara, and then the certainty of the Dharma is only the Mahayana teachings, the vehicle, and then the certainty of the retinue are the bodhisattvas on the 10th bhumi. So in this way, the countless Pure Lands of the Sambhogakayas appear naturally, just like the rainbow lights, 5 rainbow lights naturally emerge from a crystal. So that is an outer example of the 5 elements. And then within the mind, if one gives rise to bodhicitta, then the 5 afflictions become the 5 wisdoms. And they are then the natural reflection of the mind that appear in like rainbows in the sky in 5 different colors. So from an impure perspective, there are the 5 elements, but the wisdom aspect, so the wisdom aspect, the pure essence, the vital essence, the refined, the pure essence of these 5 elements is inherent to them. So when they are transformed, they become the 5 wisdoms. If one gives rise to bodhicitta as the basis, therefore naturally the Pure Lands will arise, will naturally self-arise. And on the other hand, if the cause is self-grasping and the afflictions, then the hell realms and the hungry spirit realms also will naturally arise. So knowing that is called trusting faith. And trusting is to trust in the workings of karma, cause and effect.
在第25页的这一行小字呢，就是最上方这一行小字，认识一切显有为天尊刹土，天然本质之游戏，且生出定解者，为圣意顶礼或赞叹也。所以在这边就是说到的是如何去观待事物，而这个观待者呢，就是菩萨，就是就是叫圣者，这些圣者们，菩萨圣者们，他们是如何去看待显象的？他们会将一切的显象呢，都看成是自心的投射，就如同水晶投射光芒一般。所以他们心中并没有这种2元的执着概念在心里，他们的确心里还是会升起念头，可是这些念头的显现呢，就升起就如同镜子一般，从这个虚空当中升起，从虚空的法身当中升起如彩虹般的报身。而这个报身是自然投射出来的，那这个就是这个心呢，就是佛的心。这个在报身当中升起，对不起，在法身当中升起报身，并且呢升起5种定解。那首先第一个是地方，就是指这个地点是这个奥明佛土。那就是这些净土像是奥明佛土。第二是时间，也就是将持续不断的转法轮。第三是导师，也就是金刚总持。第四是法教，这些法教都是所教授的法教都是大乘的法教。第五是眷属，也就是都是实地菩萨，这些眷属都是实地的菩萨。所以有无量的报身显现，然后就如同从这个水晶当中放射出5种光芒一样。所以当我们的心中如果可以升起菩提心的时候呢，5种智慧、5种烦恼将能够转变成5种智慧，它就如同这个彩虹当中的5种颜色一般。所以这个当我们的这个从不清净的的角度来看呢，就是这世间的这5种元素呢，世间是5种元素组成，可是它能够转换成这个菩提心，就是它转变之后升起菩提心。然后呢，就是净土就会显现，而当这个升起这个贪着或者是升起我执和烦恼的时候，它就是会显现出地狱和恶鬼道的这些境况。所以呢，通过这样子，我们可以了解，我们可以对这个业力因果升起深切的信心。
진짜라 람종 이시저로 바 무엇이 생데 람종 이시저로 바 대타를 좀 혼줄요 말이 인나기 무엇이지 무엇이지 아다 소소라는 알레가리 동담로 유주의 메인지 별는디 사촉sem로 고리돼서 총회 일센데에서 자rum로 저는 후후 차질 강사는 잘 봐. 나중에 지금 사실게 다 소소랑도 너는 랑그 당호 생각 내려고 랑그 또네 소소랑 저나 이시지 주요를 따뜻하고 용띠때도 동야요 그래서 소소랑 이시지 주요를 해서 그래서 담합이 주요 말해서 이시지 맞게 가다라랑라 그래서 이게 가다라랑라 따왔대도 또 고바대도 고나 이게 동지 사고 또 와라 잉을 때다가 용띠 때다가 요발에 매바 요와시 반 말해서
So it's a recognize self rising of manifestation. Whether or not one recognizes them is individual. It depends on one's own realization. But the Buddha had said that the ultimate truth is not an object of the intellect. It transcends the intellect. So it cannot be comprehended by the intellect. But somebody who has habituated, cultivated some bodhicitta, and whose ice block of self-grasping has melted a bit, and whose mind has become relaxed, at ease, they might understand that. To them, they might recognize that or gain an understanding. But for the most part, as ordinary people who do perceive this duality of self and others, for us it is more difficult to understand. It is also explained in the Heart Sutra that many of you are reading. It says that it is the sphere of self-knowing primordial wisdom. So that means it can only be known through self-knowing primordial wisdom. It is nothing that can be known by means of the intellect. So the various self-manifestations, the natural expression of the five wisdoms, like the Pure Lands and the various forms of the deities and so on, are also explained, the way in which they arise are explained in the Samantabhadra prayer. So how from the expressive power of the five wisdoms the Pure Lands emerge and so on. And also those who practice Dzogchen, they might see various Pure Lands and so on. But those who try to think about it intellectually with a rational mind, they wonder where is that, where are those Pure Lands, and how do they exist, and how are they created and so on. So in this way, it is more difficult to understand because we cannot actually express it or explain that in words. So therefore, the Buddha had said the ultimate truth is not an object that can be comprehended by the intellect. So first one must realize the nature of one's own mind. One must recognize and know one's own mind. And then that self-knowing mind recognizes, understands all these qualities, these expressions that emerge from the primordial wisdom, the Pure Lands, and so on. So it is in the sphere of primordial wisdom. It is not understood from the perspective of an ordinary intellect. And so whether or not one gains certainty or recognizes that, it depends only on one's own understanding, on oneself, one's own seeing. So first one realizes the view, and then one habituates a meditation, and then having habituated to meditation, one might gain an understanding of what these qualities arising from these 5 wisdoms are. And so that is what is meant here with the homage that is performed on the ultimate level. So in any case, whatever arises, these self-arising manifestations are things that naturally exist, or in other words, we are not. These are not things that are, in a way, we pretend exist when they don't exist, but they actually are there.
OK， 所以这边接下来说到为圣意顶礼或赞叹也，这边的这一个圣意顶礼，这边这个圣意顶礼呢，也就是这个自身的这个本初智慧的自身显现，就是我们要认出这一个本初智慧的自身显现。所以呢，当就是有行者他一个人呢，他是否能够认出这个自身显现的本初智慧呢？这个是要看他个人的了悟到了什么程度。佛他曾经说过，究竟的真谛呢，它是超越知识的。所以我们可以通过培养菩提心。如果我们培养起菩提心，然后呢，这个心中凝结冰块也稍微融化了一点，而我们的心可以比较松坦，也就是轻松，那我们就可能可以稍微认出这种状态。一般的凡夫会执持就是有自他的概念，所以就非常不容易理解这个部分。在心经中呢，也有提到，就是心经也是不容易理解的。比如说，它只能够被它只能够被这个自身的本初智慧所了解。那些修持大圆满的行者呢，他们可能因为修持的成就，他们可能可以看见这个净土。可是这种如果我们以理性的方式来进行思维的话，我们可能会问说，净土在哪里？他们是如何存在的？是谁？是怎么样创造的？这个情况呢，是非常难以解释，以言语来解释的。佛他曾经说过，究竟的真谛是不能够用这个知识来诠释的，难以言全的。认识心性呢？认识心性，所以认识心性之后呢，认出心性之后，我们就可以明白一切的功德呢，都是从本初智慧当中升起的。而在本初智慧里面呢，是这个本初智慧是没有办法通过知识来去理解的。当我们能够了悟见地，并且呢，通过禅修来串习它之后呢，我们就能够获得一定的了解。这个功德呢，将会从5种智慧当中升起。所以这个自身的 本初智慧显现呢，它是它好，我们不能够把它看成是好像原本是不存在，然后假装它存在，因为呢，它实际上就是存在于那里的。
等于这了，你年龄人就搞成这啥的，小个哈过了一点了，你就当我搞不的了，没哪里不送那个有的，或者没能够弄的上面落回我的，他听了了，那估计看样没得没哪个送的人，也都哈过说，刚送的呢，当不空给，出境嘛，同去年同时。你到这出境好啊，这到假期不？假期了等啥吧的？我也去了这里，就马到了，这个人就马大吧，东吧，出境去年东莞也还可上去，中国马这吧还可上去，这还可呢，他的去好啊的出境是啥个事情了？这像当地当马里巴个人都，南西这个人都。남시 딱지했다면 남시 이시에 샤츠 남시 코랑 딱지했다면 서로 열라 맞춰는 남시 딱지했다면 남시만 통이신 통이 남시 제 이시에 샤츠 상지의 이시의 시에도 예를 요구 예시사 탐제 시의 시시의 이시의 타를 뭐 말이대 소소 남시의 이시에 샤츠 남시의 내lok도로 되니 강리东半南话大了。专门人去西巴啥工程都的，建设没吧？他都经常喜欢这类小孩子，那么是蛮同意系统子。这方面的你在韩国说呢，我先进他们这那些没这家我们都是，他们先进他们这那些这个大车的都是。我先进他们在韩国说，先进嘛都常见同的，不是同行生，这种的，这里说到啥我韩国说，这里。然后出境嘛，从去年从的，这里南西嘛从一起从的，这里申请嘛从长街从的，这里长街干了这个有的长街做的这个申请那么长街呢，我叫罗伯这么这种，咱们就装东西像个大伙送的有的，这个介绍多呀有的，经常是呢，搞一个多过来就是当地没办法，然后3年就过了，3年这个当地里面呢。有些比较进步差不有意思，什么家进步差，这什么这大街都是什么能夸到的，咱们这个差不多吧那些，家庭家什么这里差一个，这里什么那路线呢？我什么能夸到的，什么你们都做好过了，这里这里的了，这都多呀有的是，说花东你瞧多这个没，这把这广告路的花的多呀有还不上的，你这知道他们这那个学员子。
And so who is someone who has really understood that from a practical perspective? So in this time and age, Milarepa has appeared. And many of you read the 100,000 songs of Milarepa, his teachings. And in there is a teaching by Milarepa that really gave me an understanding, me who is someone who has not much learning. So there are 3 things that Milarepa saw in this teaching. So the first thing and he saw is, he said, I do not see the various objects, phenomenal objects, but I see dharmata, which is the nature of those phenomena. So the various objects, the various phenomena refers to samsara, and samsara is vast and extensive. But no matter how vast it is, in reality, all appearance is an illusion. It is all compounded phenomena which are impermanent and therefore empty. So that is their true nature. So dharmata, or the true nature of phenomena, is emptiness. That is, they do not inherently or truly exist. So that is the first understanding I gained by that. And then who created all those various objects and phenomena in samsara? It is the mind that grasps at a self, the ignorant mind. It is the rational consciousness. And if you investigate that consciousness, actually the nature of the consciousness is primordial wisdom. So when the consciousness is not confused and distracted by the external objects, if it actually looks at itself inside, then there is no rational consciousness. So therefore Milarepa said the second thing he saw was, I do not see the rational consciousness, I see only primordial wisdom. Because the consciousness, the nature of consciousness actually is wisdom. And primordial wisdom, because it has been there since primordial times, and it is all-knowing, it knows all. And so this primordial wisdom is nothing that is far away from us. Actually, it is within our own mind. It is our consciousness that is primordial wisdom when you realize its nature. When you realize the nature of consciousness, it is empty like space. And it is also clear knowing. It is a union of clarity and emptiness. It is beyond birth and death. Its nature is the nature of Vajradhara. So therefore Milarepa said, I do not see rational consciousness, I see primordial wisdom. And so then, having understood that, then he understood that although there are countless sentient beings, all sentient beings in the three realms of samsara have such a consciousness. They all have a mind without exception. And it is that consciousness that is confused. But that is not its true nature. So therefore, the third thing he saw was, I do not see sentient beings, I just see Buddhas. So these are the three things that Milarepa saw. And by reading that, I also gained a really clear understanding of what is meant here. So first, I do not see the objective phenomena. I see their nature, or dharmata. Secondly, I do not see the rational consciousness, I see just primordial wisdom. And thirdly, I do not see sentient beings, I just see Buddhas. And actually, what Milarepa said also was taught by the Buddha himself. The Buddha said, within all sentient beings, within all beings is the Buddha. Beings are only obscured by temporary stains. And this is actually a line that Vajradhara Druvang Rinpoche would always say. And it is something that we can actually realize if we engage in practice. So how can we realize this? First, we need to become free from self-grasping by cultivating love and compassion. And then when self-grasping has collapsed, then the mind is very vast. And when you investigate and look at that mind directly, it is like space. And space, because it is all pervasive. It seems like it pervades the entire universe, it's everywhere. So when you look at this mind, and it is like space, you realize that within space, there can't be a duality. So there is no duality. And then you realize non-duality. So this is something that we now understand, but it is something that we can actually realize. And so even someone like myself, who is a very sinful person, although I might not have realized, I gained a very clear understanding. And also you, my Dharma friends, might gain a similar understanding, and therefore I wish to share this with you.
所以我们该如何从实践的角度去理解呢？密勒日巴尊者的一些教授呢，他让我就是有了一定的了解，尽管我不是一个学问很多的人，他的这三点呢，就是密勒日巴看到的这三点呢，是我们可以去学习的。就是首先第一点呢，第一个他所看到的就是他没有看到不同的这个诸法的对境，他只看到法界。所以这个诸法的对境呢，就是指轮回。这个轮回是深而广的。 所以，可是从究竟而言呢，这些都只是显象，都是幻象，它是因缘和合而产生的，是无常的，因此它也是性空的。这个法界呢，它真实的体性呢是空性，所以是谁创造了在这些轮回当中的对境呢？其实是我们无明的心创造的，所以是这个，所以这个意识呢，我们如果是我们的这个意识，如果我们往内观的话，它实际上并不是我们所以为的，就是一种理智上的意识。第二就是那个密勒日巴尊者他并没有看到众生这种理性的意识，他所看到的是本初智慧。本初智慧，它是从本初的时候呢，就已经在那里了。而这个本初智慧，它是能完全了解一切事物的，完全明白清楚的这个本初智慧。可是它并不是在一个遥远的地方，它就在我们的内心里面，它就是我们的意识。只是所以呢，一旦我们能够了悟心性的话，就能够知道，一旦我们能够了悟这个意识的体性的话呢，我们就能够了悟到这个空性，它就如同虚空一般。所以因此呢，这个如同虚空一般的空性，它是明空双运的，而且它也是这个金刚总持的体性。了解了这一点呢，我们就可以明白无量的众生呢，就是在三界里面所有一切的众生呢，都具有这个意识。可是有意识呢，就有迷惑的产生。可是这个迷惑呢，它并不是众生的本性。第三，密勒日巴他并没有看见众生，他所看见的是佛。所以，我通过阅读这些密勒日巴所说的教言呢，所以我也首先呢，就是他的教言里面就说到，总结就说到，他所看到的并不是诸法当中的诸法的对境，他所看到的是法界法性。第二呢，就是他所看到的并不是理性的意识，而是本初智慧。第三，他所看见的并不是众生，而是佛。所以密勒日巴所说的其实都是来自佛的教言。佛他就曾经说过，在一切众生心中皆是佛，众生只是短暂被染污所遮蔽。这个也是竺旺仁波切他一直都在提醒他的弟子的内容。所以当我们可以就是断除我执，而且是通过培养慈心悲心将我执断除，我们的心就会变得非常广大。当我们关照自心，它就如同虚空，而且是遍满一切宇宙世间的。当我们关照自心，这个自心是如同虚空，而且我们也可以了解到，这个虚空它是没有办法一分为二的，从而我们也可以了悟到这个无二的智慧。我们因此就可以就可以获得这个真实的了悟。仁波切他说他自己是一个有罪的人，尽管他并不真的是并没有真实的了悟，可是呢，他还是可以将这些教法的言语，他所明白的这些言语和大家分享。
等于托梦的大藏的等于上上品亲把这吧 내봤음지 용진이 주인이 됐으니对吧这个原因刚对吧这第二件事看的对吧这个原因这现行的去就不落过实际上大所以是大家讲到的那三年家这个长沙要不的路不这吧些红红当成起过的这个这里要把面想看的这有些平庸的这场一中间的很多人说过来这个还讲的他杂交这个有的第二件想看的抗人想看他们现在七八都宝宝也是抗人想看别人想看他们啥个么弄吧有别人啥送吧个想看呢等于4,000부터 사족서 받아 계속 그 말이等于想看长没吧有讲的你甚至连用把下这种通途个말이想看不是人呢想看的通途个말이 대회는 저기 하지 밤에 그 사지 세와 동설 망부는 사 주바고 밤에서 정보 산촉에서 특지 강리 sep지 탐지 등이 다보신 감들 제 갖고 제뭐 접들이 니 성적아 니 잡아봐봐네 제로로 되나 다 sep지 탐지 뭐람 따봐서 이제 감지 공동세 이 사지 생각 장매 벌어서 초바 장매 봐 벌때 뭐람 장매 받다 이 사지 사막에 어때 빼야고서 켈랑들이 저랑이 생각함데 우리 뭐나 이 사지 탐지 뭐나 딱 로바자 아니 다다단 가와는 로바자 왔는데 네가 밤에 로바자 네가 밤에 사촉생기 생각함데 주요하래 내가 생각함데 이제 주민들이 내가 생각함데는 뭐나 딱채 뭐 뭐나 딱채 뭐나 딱채 맞잖아 이 공화 대버서 상자가 메인지 네가 밤에 담자 되잖아 이 생각함데 주요하래 이제 왜 생각함데 내가 생각함데 다 문에서 다시 감사 아빠사 장로레스 강연했더니 나서다 지나다 대화기 지금데 정차지 레벨에 수 정차지 대화기 지금데 차를 정차지 고요리지 대화기 지금은 로당게 지나지 까빠도 도사하게 다들 까빠도 지금 까빠도 이제 네 대화긴 샤저가 까바를 했어가 요래더니 내지 체라는데 제자를 생각하면 저 들리잖아 잡채 뭐나다 끼네 근데 산지 탐지게 되는 대화긴 가면 생각하면 뭐나 에마호 되잖아 생각 탐지는 생각 취직하는데 약수에 가래는 세기도 보시는 뭐나다 계속 되다니 참 뭐나다 되니 생각 탐지는 다 안도 모래야 돼 그래서 세계는 다들 투지지 강의만 보자고요. 그래서 당자적인 거 동대 봐. 뭐나든 접요해. 그래서 사지에 밤에 시작합니다. 사지 탐색에 또 같이요. 대회들이 도망 나삼 대도 같이요.
So then it says in the small print still, the homage as a mere common gesture of recollecting and venerating the qualities of the deities, knowledge, love, and power. So it is mere symbolic the way of paying homage. What follows is qualities of the deity, which the deity possesses the qualities of knowledge, love, and power. And it is a praise also to the Pure Land of Dewa Chen. And so it says, Shri, ever turning the wheel of Dharma in the Pure Land of Sukhavati, you unceasingly look upon sentient beings with compassion. Homage and praise to Amitabha, who abiding in equipoise, follows his pledge to act for the purpose of beings. So it is a supplication to Amitabha and a praise to the Pure Land of Dewa Chen. So, what is how did this Pure Land of Dewa Chen really come about? And so, who knows about its benefits? So, actually, the Buddha himself explained extensively the benefits of this particular Pure Land of Dewa Chen. For example, it is explained, those benefits are explained in the Amitabha Sutra or the Avalokiteshvara Sutra by the Buddha himself. And the reason why the Buddha mentioned it himself is because long in the past, in a different aeon, the Buddha Amitabha before was born as a wheel-turning king. And during that time, our present teacher, the Buddha Shakyamuni, at that time he was in the past that wheel-turning king's minister. So the king and the minister had a very special samaya with each other. And due to this special samaya, the Buddha Shakyamuni then now at this time explained the benefits and the qualities of this Pure Land of the Buddha Amitabha Dewa Chen. So that is why it is explained in the Buddha's sutras and considered to be so precious. And so then what is so special now about this Pure Land of Dewa Chen? It is said that of all the different Pure Lands, it is very unique. And that is because in all the other Pure Lands, a normal person cannot just be born. For example, in Pure Lands like the Eastern Pure Land of Manifest Joy, only a bodhisattva on high bhumis can be born. But ordinary sentient beings, their karmas and their afflictions are too thick that they cannot even see the Pure Land. Even if they would actually get there, they would not even be able to see that Pure Land due to their obscurations. And so for this reason, at that time in the past, before attaining enlightenment, the Buddha Amitabha cultivated the mind of bodhicitta, and he made prostrations and offerings to many countless of Buddhas. And he then said, he took this pledge. So here it is at the heart pledge, so followed his pledge. So he said then that in all the other Pure Lands, it is so difficult to be born for ordinary sentient beings. So sentient beings cannot be born in those Pure Lands. And just like raindrops falling down, they continuously are born mainly in the three lower realms. So there must be a Pure Land where ordinary sentient beings also can be born, only if they supplicate, only if they pray. And so that was his aspiration, and with that aspiration he made many offerings and prostrations to these millions of Buddhas. Buddhas then praised the Buddha Amitabha at that time and said, this is an excellent aspiration and we will support this aspiration. So then the Buddhas, those countless Buddhas, then also made an aspiration to support Amitabha in the creation of such a Pure Land where also ordinary sentient beings can be born there. So they, in a way, helped the Buddha Amitabha, just like building a house or so. So then finally, the Buddha Amitabha accumulated merit throughout three countless aeons and attained enlightenment. And so when he took this commitment, he actually said that only if such a Pure Land can be created, where beings can be born only through the power of prayer, only then shall I attain enlightenment. If such a Pure Land cannot be created, then also I shall not attain enlightenment. So that was his commitment, and then the Pure Land was created, so he did attain enlightenment. And actually, the Pure Land of Dewa Chen is a sort of a brand new Pure Land. It is only in Dewa Chen days 1 week old. And so that means in our years, 7 aeons. So one of our aeons equals 1 day in Dewa Chen. And that is because this time is because there is so much happiness and bliss in Dewa Chen. So now it has been created, and beings only through the power of aspiration prayer can actually be born there. And so that is excellent. And so therefore, in all those Dewa Chen prayers, the beginning word, the first word of those prayers is Emaho, which is how wondrous, an exclamation of all those countless Buddhas in praise of this Pure Land, because it is the supreme of all Pure Lands for this reason. Because sentient beings, even very sinful sentient beings, can be born there only by the power of aspiration prayers. Because otherwise it is very difficult to be born in other Pure Lands. So that is what is meant here, to follows the heart pledge to act for the purpose of beings. So the heart pledge was to create such a Pure Land, and you followed it because the Pure Land was actually created. And so this is referred to as the common, although from the ultimate level homage is paid, from a common or ordinary perspective, still the qualities of the Pure Lands are praised.
所以在小行字的最后一个部分呢，即意念天众之至爱能三功德，且恭敬顶礼者。所以在这边呢，我们在这边呢是顶礼，是并且呢就是向本尊具有这个智力、爱力和能力的本尊呢行这个顶礼。所以这个接下来呢就说到，遂于极乐国转动正法轮，恒以大悲看世有情众。那在这边呢是在向阿弥陀佛祈请，然后是赞叹极乐净土。极乐净土它是从何而来的呢？它的利益又是什么？佛他曾经解释过阿弥陀佛极乐净土的利益，包括在阿弥陀经还有这个观音经里面，他有说到，在很久以前，就是很早远以前呢，阿弥陀佛他还是一个转轮圣王的时候，释迦牟尼佛在当时是这个转轮圣王的大臣。这个大臣和转轮圣王，他们彼此之间有非常特殊的三昧耶。当时的所以呢，这个释迦牟尼佛他会特别解释这个极乐净土的功德，因为它是非常珍贵殊胜的。这个极乐净土它有什么特殊的功德呢？在所有的不同的净土当中，这个极乐净土是非常特殊的，因为呢，因为所有的其他的净土呢，一般的众生都很难投生到那里去。一般的众生由于这个垢染太过的一般的众生的这个染污过于的严重，然后就是他们很难见到净土。所以呢，这个阿弥陀佛他于是就立下了这个他的誓言，也就是他的心誓，也就是一切众生他发的大愿就是一切既然这个其他的净土呢，一般的众生凡夫都很难投生到那里，而且呢他们都会因为没有办法投生到净土，而一直在一直堕入三恶道当中，所以他就发愿，就是一定要就是有一个这样子的净土，让一般凡夫众生可以投生到那里，而且呢是仅仅通过祈愿就能够投生到那里。所以阿弥陀佛他就依着他的这个愿力呢，就不断的进行修持，而且是修了3大阿僧祇劫的时间，最终他证悟成佛。而且这些其他的一切诸佛呢，也因为阿弥陀佛的这个愿力，所以呢他们就也支持阿弥陀佛为这个一般的凡夫众生创造一个这样子的净土。 而且阿弥陀佛当时在发愿的时候呢，就有誓言说，如果没有办法就是创造这样子的净土呢，他就誓不成佛。所以呢，后来这个净土就显现了，所以也因此他就成佛了。在这个极乐净土当中呢，这个1周的时间呢，这个极乐净土其实是最新的一个净土，它只是建立了1周的时间，而这个1周呢，就等于我们这个世间的7大劫，所以我们的1大劫呢，就等于净土的1天的时间，因为在净土呢，的这个大乐，这个欢乐实在是太过丰盈了，众生呢，只要通过祈愿就能够投生到这样的极乐净土。所以在极乐愿文当中的开篇一开始呢，就是以 Emma Ho 做开头，意思就是非常稀有的含义，也就是在赞叹这个极乐净土，它是和其他的净土比起来是非常殊胜的，即使是带罪的众生、带业的众生呢，都能够投生到这个净土，只要通过祈愿就能够投生到那里。所以呢，
这个大家了解错的罗马特呢，这里木这重的了解莫那的错用的了解公巴家长地呢要的，这里面的罗小哈嘛地呢那么的梦的这里说给也是差的罗样啊，这里怕这送的这个嘛的，这梦的啊这里产品什么就工程拖嘛，产品那个是空送过来。你讲啥就把我说的，你了解个体的产品我今天想了，这里还有是听个起我的，这里了解莫能听的，恰场这里让你把样听那个有的，这里大家称他们的那原因的。
And so if you cannot always read practice the sadhana, the ritual of Dewa Chen, there's also this small booklet, the prayer of Dewa Chen, and actually within that, all the prayers and the recitation, all the practices are actually complete. And also, for example, when a person or an animal, for example, die, and you read that prayer of Dewa Chen to them even just once, then most of them, most likely, they will not be born in the 3 lower realms. So it is very, very precious. And this prayer of Dewa Chen was written by the first Chagme Rinpoche, Chagme Raga Asyam, and he really was the real Amitabha, an emanation of Amitabha. And that is why it would be really a great blessing to receive teachings on the prayer of Dewa Chen, especially from Chagme Rinpoche. So the prayer of Dewa Chen is all-inclusive in all the various levels of the path of practice. And so today we stop the teachings here.
如果没有办法经常就是修持这个法本呢，我们还是能够就是阅读这个小手册，也就是极乐愿文的这个小手册。所有的教法呢，其实都圆满的包含在这个小手册这个极乐愿文当中。比如说，如果有人往生了，你即使仅仅念诵极乐愿文1次给他，那大多数的众生呢，往生者都不会堕入恶道当中。所以这个极乐愿文它是非常的珍贵的，它是由这个意识乔美仁波切所造，也就是乔美拉雅阿夏，所以所造的，它其实就是阿弥陀佛的化现。所以呢， 如果能够从他那里领受极乐愿文的教授的话呢，是非常非常好的。而这个极乐愿文当中也包含了所有修持的这一个道路。
我们的话是，我们的话是，我们的话是，我们的话是，我们的话是，我们的话是，我们的话是，我们的话是，我们的话是，我们的话是，我们的话是，我们的话是，我们的话。我们的话是，我们的话是，我们的话是，我们的话是，我们的话是，我们的话是，我们的话是，我们的话是，我们的话是，我们的话是，我们的话是。
Page number 28, second line.
28页第2行。
Hoi Jom Den Gom Bo San Je Pa Me Se Chen Jar Se Sam Sen Pa Pe Su Nyam On Jo La Tu Je Ra Gong La Da So De Chi Shen Den Jen So Ngon Je Tu Je Tan Ja Che Jen Du To Ta Ye Tu Je Wan Ge Ho Leng En Ta Se Ko Wa Tu Ne Ta Ta Nye Tu Jen Pan Se Tu So Te Ta Tong Sho Cha Pe Jo Go Re Nan De To Le To Je Wo Mar Chu Da Song Ro Wen Ye Ka Ten Pe Mo Dan Ze Lo To Chur Pa Rang Sai Che Dan Ye Chu Ge Kong Pa Mun Jo Sa Sa Ko Ze Mi Chu Zheng An De Yang.
Hung, transcendent conqueror, protector, Buddha Amitabha, and noble assembly of loving bodhisattvas, compassionately look upon us afflicted beings and guide us to the pure land of Sukhavati. In accord with your past bodhicitta vows, not wavering from the sacred bond, deity with great compassion, please exhaust all negative karma and empty samsara from its depths. At this very moment, please act as our guide. As I, with intense devotion, have thus invoked the enlightened mind, red light rays of compassion radiate from the heart of Amitabha and dissolve into the hearts of myself and all beings. Self-grasping misconceptions and delusion have collapsed in themselves. The state of selfless Dharmakaya is realized, and I rest in the nature of clarity and emptiness, free from grasping and elaboration.
And the Dharma Gong De Le So Nam Ka Ye Tham Ba Kan To Te Do A Dong A Chu Chen Wan Na Ho Pa Me Pe Ne Ra To Pa Shu.
By all the limitless and sacred merit obtained through this meditation and recitation, may all beings drowning in the river of suffering attain the supreme state of Amitabha. Hong Shri, all-pervasive Dharmakaya, protector Amitabha, Sambhogakayas, the loving assembly of bodhisattvas, and Nirmanakayas, the gathering of Shravakas and Arhats, together with your retinues, please endow all beings with the auspiciousness to progress to Sukhavati. By this virtuous practice, may I quickly realize Buddha Amitabha, and may all sentient beings without exception be established in that state.
Demo song. Demo.
We reached a prayer of Dewa Chen, the little red booklet. That one. Starting on page 3. Emma home, from here in the direction of the setting sun, beyond the multitude of innumerable worlds, slightly elevated, is the land of the noble beings, the perfectly pure realm of Dewa Chen. Although Dewa Chen is not visible to our water bubble-like eyes, it can clearly appear to our mind. There resides as a pure and victorious one, measureless light, who is of ruby red color and blazing radiance. He is adorned with the top knot on his head, the wheels on his feet, and so on, the 32 signs of perfection and the 80 minor marks. He has a single face, 2 arms in the mudra of equanimity, holding an alms bowl. He wears the 3 Dharma robes. In cross posture, he is seated on a lotus of 1,000 petals, with a moon disk from which rises a Bodhi tree that serves as a backrest. From far away, he looks at me with eyes of compassion. On his right is the Bodhisattva, eyes of compassionate wisdom of Avalokiteshvara, of white color, holding in his left hand a white lotus. And on his left is the Bodhisattva of great power, Vajrapani, of blue color, holding in his left hand a lotus marked with a Vajra. Both of them extend their right hands towards us in the refuge-bestowing mudra. These 3 main deities appear like Mount Meru, the king of mountains, radiant, pouring forth splendor and illuminating, that well accompanied by the retinue of 1,000,000,000 Gelong bodhisattvas, all of them also of golden color, adorned with the marks and signs, dressed in the 3 Dhamma robes of great resplendence. With a devotion that does not make any difference between near and far, I prostrate full of respect with my 3 doors. The Dharmakaya, limitless radiance, Lord of the Buddha family, emanates from his right hand light rays that become Chandresic, 1 billion secondary emanations of the mighty Chandresic. From his left hand, he emanates light rays that become Tara, with 1 billion secondary emanations of Tara. From his heart, light rays go out manifesting Padmasambhava, together with 1 billion secondary emanations of Orgyan. I prostrate to Dharmakaya measureless light. With the eyes of a Buddha, during all 6 periods of the day and night, he constantly regards with love all sentient beings. His enlightened mind is constantly aware of whatever thoughts or ideas arise in the mind of all sentient beings. His enlightened ear constantly hears distinctly, without confusion, whatever words are spoken by all sentient beings. I prostrate to the all-knowing measureless light. Except for those who have rejected the Dharma or accomplished the deeds of immediate retribution, all who have faith in you and make their wishing prayers will be born in Dewa Chen, and their prayers will be fulfilled. It is said that in the bardo he will come and guide us into this land. I prostrate to the guide measureless light. Your lifespan lasting for countless kalpas, you stay here and do not go beyond suffering. If we pray to you with one-pointed respect, it is said that Except for the complete ripening of karma, the end of our life force will happen only after 100 years, and the various kinds of untimely death will be averted. I prostrate to protect the Amitayos. It is said that it is of greater merit to join the palms out of faith on hearing the name of Amitabha and about Dewa Chen than to fill countless 3,000-fold universes of vast extent with jewels and to offer them as gifts. For this reason, I respectfully prostrate to measureless light. Whosoever hears the name of Amitabha and develops just once a faith, which comes from the depths of his heart and bones, and is not empty talk, will never lose the path to enlightenment. I prostrate to the protector measureless light. From the time of hearing the name of Buddha measureless light until obtaining Buddhahood, I will not be born in an inferior body, but take birth in a good family and have a pure conduct in all lives to come. I prostrate to measureless light gone to bliss. My body and all my possessions, together with my roots of virtue, whatever offerings that are actually presented or emanated by mind, including the auspicious substances, the 8 auspicious signs, the 7 precious items, whatever offerings exist since all times, billions of 3,000-fold universes with their 4 continents, the central mountain, the sun and the moon, together with all the wealth of gods, nagas, and humans. I take them up in my mind and offer them to Amitabha. By the force of your compassion, accept this for my own benefit. I lay open and confess all the non-virtuous deeds which I have committed from beginningless time until now, by myself and by all sentient beings headed by my father and mother. I lay open and confess the 3 unwholesome acts of the body, killing, taking what is not given, and impure conduct. I lay open and confess the 4 unwholesome acts of the speech, lying, slandering, rough speech, and gossip. I lay open and confess the 3 unwholesome acts of mind, covetousness, malice, and wrong views. I lay open and confess the 5 deeds of immediate retribution, which we accumulated, killing our father, our mother, our teacher, or an arhat, and intending to cause harm to the body of a victorious one. I lay open and confess the evil deeds similar to the deeds of immediate retribution, killing a gelong or a getsul, making a nun fall, destroying a statue, stupa or temple, and so on. I lay open and confess the evil acts of abandoning the Dharma, like abandoning the 3 supports, etc., the jewels, the temple, and the supreme speech. I lay open and confess all these accumulated, very negative, useless actions, like abusing bodhisattvas, which is of greater evil than to kill the sentient beings of the 3 realms. Compared to the 5 crimes of immediate retribution, it is more negative not to believe in the benefits of virtuous deeds and the difficulties resulting from non-virtue, and to think that this is not true and simply a pedagogical device. And this, although we received explanations on the duration and extent of suffering in the hell realms and so on. I lay open and confess this negative karma that makes liberation impossible. I lay open and confess all breakage and damages of the discipline of individual liberation, including the 5 categories of faults, the 4 root downfalls, the 13 with a remainder, the transgressions, the downfalls, the individually confessed damages and defaults. I lay open and confess all the transgressions concerning the bodhisattva training, the 4 negative actions, the 5, and 8 downfalls. I lay open and confess the samaya damages of the secret mantra, the 14 root downfalls, and the transgressions of the 8 secondary vows. I lay open and confess all harmful deeds which I did not understand to be harmful, the non-virtuous deeds that I have committed due to not requesting vows, and all evil deeds of which I was not aware, as of actually being harmful, like impure conduct, sexual activity, drinking alcohol, and so on. I lay open and confess the serious transgressions and downfalls due to receiving refuge vows, initiations, and so on, but not knowing to keep the respective vows and commitments. Since a confession will not purify if there is not regret, I confess with great remorse, with shame, and with despair at my previous harmful deeds, as if poison had attained the depth of my being. Since there will be no purification if I am not keeping to my vows from now on, I promise in my mind from today onwards never to commit non-virtuous activity, even at the cost of my life. Please, Sugata, measureless light and your ears, grant your blessings so that my stream of being may be completely purified. When I hear about others who have accomplished wholesome acts, I abandon all unwholesome thoughts of jealousy and rejoice in their deeds with heartfelt joy, which is said to make us obtain a merit equal to theirs. For this reason, I rejoice in whatever virtuous deeds are accomplished by realized and ordinary beings. I also rejoice in the vast activity accomplished for the benefit of beings due to developing the mind of supreme, unsurpassable enlightenment. I rejoice in giving up the 10 unwholesome and performing the 10 wholesome acts, to protect the life of others, to give offerings and to keep one's vows, to speak the truth and to reconcile adversaries, to speak peacefully, gently, and sincerely, and to engage in conversations which are meaningful, to have little desire, to cultivate love and compassion, and to practice the Dharma. In all these virtuous acts I rejoice. I exhort all those perfect Buddhas who dwell in all the myriad worlds of the 10 directions to quickly and extensively turn the wheel of Dharma without waiting any longer. Please be aware of this request with your clairvoyant mind. I supplicate all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, holders of the teachings, and spiritual friends who intend to go beyond suffering, to remain and not pass into nirvana. As it was shown, I dedicate all my virtuous acts of the 3 times for the benefit of all sentient beings. May all of us quickly obtain unsurpassable enlightenment and steer the 3 realms of samsara from their depth. May these virtuous deeds quickly ripen for me and pacify the 18 causes of untimely death in this life. May I be endowed with the physical strength of a healthy adolescent in full bloom. May material wealth never decline, but increase as the river Ganges in the monsoon. May I practice the noble Dharma without dangers through demons or enemies. May all my wishes be fulfilled in accordance with the Dharma. May I be of great benefit for the teaching and for beings. May I accomplish the true meaning of this human existence. At the very moment when I and all those who have a connection with me pass beyond this life, may the emanation of Buddha Amitabha, surrounded by his retinue of a Sangha of monks, actually come to meet us. On seeing him, may our mind be happy and joyful, and may there be no more suffering of death. May by the force of their miraculous powers, the 8 Bodhisattva brothers appear in the sky and guide us, indicating the path to Dewa. The suffering in the lower realms is unbearable, and the joy and well-being of gods and humans is impermanent. Understanding this, may I develop a fearful mind and develop disgust with samsara that had to be endured from beginningless time until now. Even those who go from one supreme human life to another experience countless times birth, old age, illness, and death. In these difficult, degenerate times, when there are many obstacles and the well-being and happiness of humans and gods are similar to food mixed with poison, may I have not even a hair tip of attachment. May I be free of even the slightest attachment to relatives, food, wealth, and companions, which are impermanent and illusory like a dream. May I understand the countries, places, and lodgings to have no real existence, just like the places and houses in my dreams. Like a criminal liberated from prison, may I, without ever looking back, escape from this ocean of samsara that knows no freedom to the pure realm of Dewa. Having cut all links of attachment and desire, may I fly off in space just like a vulture freed from a net and instantly reach Dewa, traveling beyond the countless universes in the western direction. May I see the face of Buddha measureless light, who is actually dwelling there, and purify all my veils. May I take the superior of the 4 kinds of birth and be miraculously born from the heart of a lotus flower. Obtaining in one instant the complete perfect body, may I receive a body endowed with all the marks and the signs. If I doubt and hesitate to be born there, The blossom of the flower will not open for 500 years, but inside of it I will be happy and content with all enjoyments. Even though I will hear the word of the Buddha, may this fault of delayed meeting with the Buddha's face not happen to me. May the flower open as soon as I am born, so that I may see the face of Amitabha. By the force of my merit and magical powers, may inconceivable clouds of offerings emanate from the palms of my hands as offerings to the Buddha and his retinue. May at that moment that the Tathagata stretch out his right hand, place it on my head, and may I obtain his prophecy of enlightenment. Having listened to the Dharma, which is profound and vast, may my mind ripen and be liberated. Chandrasik and Vajrapani, being the principal bodhisattvas, may I be blessed and guided by these two. Almost every day, countless Buddhas and bodhisattvas of the 10 directions come to make offering and see Amitabha in this land. At that time, may I pay homage to all of them and obtain the nectar of the Dharma. Through my limitless magical powers, may I go in the morning towards the realm of true happiness, to the glorious land, to the lands of supreme activity and dense array. May I request initiations, blessings, and vows of the Buddha Akshobhya, Ratnasambhava, Amoghasiddhi, Varochana, etc. Make many offerings, and in the evening, without any effort, return to Devachan itself. There are a billion realms of pure emanations, such as the lands of Potalam, Alakwati, Kurava, and the land of Orgyan, with a billion Chandrasik, Tara, Vajrapani, and Padmasambhava. May I encounter them and make oceans of offerings, request initiations and profound pith instructions, and quickly return without any obstacle to my place in Devachan. May I clearly see with my divine eye all the close friends, monks and students, and so on, and may I be able to guard and protect them, bestow blessings, and at the time of their death, guide them to this land. This fortunate aeon that lasts for one aeon equals only a single day in Devachan. May I live countless Devachan aeons without ever dying and continuously remain on this land. From Maitreya to Mibam, the final one, may I see all the Buddhas of this fortunate aeon when they appear in this world. With my magical powers, may I go to meet these Buddhas, make offerings to them and listen to the noble Dharma, and then again, without any obstacles, return to the Pure Land of Devachan. Devachan unites the totality of all qualities of the Buddha realms of 81 billion trillion Buddhas. May I be reborn in this land of Devachan, outstandingly supreme among all pure lands. The ground, which is made of jewels, is as smooth as the palm of a hand and vast, spacious and radiant, blazing with light rays. When it is pressed down, it gives way, and on lifting up, it rebounds. May I be reborn in this joyful, pleasant land of happiness. There are wish-fulfilling trees made of many jewels, with leaves of fine silk and fruits ornamented with jewels. On them gather flocks of emanation birds, which chant in very agreeable ways, proclaiming the sounds of the profound and vast Dharma. May I be reborn in this land of great wonders. The many rivers are of perfumed water with the 8 qualities, and the water in the bathing ponds is of nectar. They are surrounded by stairs and cornices made of the 7 kinds of jewels, and display fragrant lotus flowers bearing fruit and emanating countless rays of lotus light. The tips of the light rays are adorned with emanated Buddhas. May I be reborn in this land of greatest marvel. May I be born in this land of great joy, where even the words 8 unfitting conditions or hell are unheard of, and where never any suffering is known. Neither are the 5 or 3 emotions that are like poisons, nor sickness, mental illness, enemies, poverty, quarrels, and so on. May I be born in this land of limitless qualities, where there are no men or women, no beings born from a womb, since all are noble beings born from within a lotus flower. Here all bodies are without any difference, of golden color, endowed with the marks and signs, like the top knot on their head and so on, possessing all 5 special powers and the 5 eyes. Whatever I desire and think of, palaces made of a variety of jewels, and all enjoyments arise by themselves. No effort is necessary. All needs are spontaneously fulfilled. There is no distinction between you and me, no clinging to a self. All my wishes manifest as offering clouds arising from the palm of my hand, and everyone practices the Dharma of the unsurpassable great vehicle. May I be born in this realm, source of all bliss and happiness. A fragrant breeze brings great showers of flowers, and from the trees, rivers, and lotus flowers arise heaps of clouds with all sorts of enjoyments, agreeable shapes, sounds, smells, tastes, and touches. There are no women, but an abundance of emanated goddesses. These many offering goddesses continuously present offerings. At the time when I wish to rest, jewel palaces appear, and when I wish to sleep, beautiful thrones arise, covered with many pillows and cushions of fine silk, together with birds, wish-fulfilling trees, rivers, music, and so on. When I wish to listen to them, they emanate the pleasant sound of Dharma, and when I do not want, no sound is heard. Also the ponds and rivers are exactly as I wish, cold or warm, just as it is pleasing to me. May I be born in this land where all wishes are fulfilled. The perfect Buddha, bound measureless light, will remain in this land for countless aeons, without going into nirvana. May I act as his servant for all this time, until his passing into peace after 2 times the number of aeons, as there are sand particles in the Ganges. His teaching will remain. At that time, may I not be separated from his regent Chenrezig and uphold the noble Dharma. When at dusk the sun of the Dharma is setting, the very next morning Chenrezig will be a perfect Buddha. He will be the king whose light rays manifest the accumulated splendor of all noble ones. When this happens, may I see his face, make offerings, and listen to the noble Dharma. During the 66 trillion million aeons that he will live, may I continuously be his servant, worship him, and uphold the noble Dharma without ever forgetting to remember his words. After he has passed into nirvana, his teaching will remain for 3 times 600 billion million aeons. May I uphold the Dharma during all this time and never be separated from Vajrapani. When Vajrapani becomes the Buddha, completely reliable Tathagata king of abundant jewel-like qualities, with a lifespan and teaching just as those of Chenrezig, may we continuously be the servants of this Buddha as well, present our offerings, and uphold all the noble Dharma. When my life is over, may I instantly obtain unsurpassable perfect Buddhahood in this or one of the other pure realms. Having obtained perfect Buddhahood, may all beings, just as with Amitayos, be ripened and liberated by simply hearing my name, and may they arise through countless emanations that guide sentient beings and through other means, spontaneously and without effort, a limitless benefit for beings. The Buddha's lifespan, his merit, his qualities, and his pristine awareness, as well as his splendor, are beyond measure. And it is said that someone who remembers your name, be it Dharmakaya limitless radiance, measureless light Amitabha, or Bhagavan of immeasurable life, and primordial wisdom Amitayos, will be protected against all dangers through fire, water, poisons, weapons, evildoers, demons, and so on, with the only exception of the full ripening of previous karma. By remembering your name and prostrating, please protect us from all dangers and sufferings, and grant your blessing of excellent auspiciousness, through the blessing of having mastered the 3 bodies of the Buddha, through the blessing of the truth of the unchanging Dharmata, and through the blessing of the undivided aspiration of the Sangha. May all my prayers be accomplished just as it is wished. I prostrate to the 3 jewels, Teata, Pensandriya, Ava Buddha Naya Soha. I prostrate to the 3 jewels, Namo Manjushriya, Namo Shushriya, Namo Uttama Shriya Soha.
Page 32.
32页。
Om Sar Sanje Nangwan Thaye Thang Yes Jo Tuje Chimbo Tang Yanda semban tejin donan la sanje chamsen pamen Deje ngonza pada me baye dewa jenye chave shenkande Dajen dene tsempe jumata chewa jenye pama chuparu Tere jene nande shantan sho teke tage molanda pande Chojo sanje chamsen tamche che kemen drapar senje labdo Teya ka penzan dreya avam bodhana yeso.
Emma home, marvelous. In the center is the Buddha Amitabha, boundless light. To his right is Chandresic, the Lord of great compassion, and to his left is the Bodhisattva Vajrapani, the Lord of great power. They are surrounded by an inconceivable assembly of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Extraordinary limitless peace and happiness is the Buddha field called bliss endowed. When I and all beings pass from this life, may we be born there, unhindered by another samsaric birth. Once born there, may we behold the face of the Buddha Amitabha boundless light. By the power of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions, bless me that I may attain this aspiration without hindrance. Teata Pensankriya Ava Buddha Naya Soha.
Chobje jawa ta jagon sonye zola jera. Doje te sange sapa kancho samlan chubo. Jare temba bhuje je gewa semje kona mo. Dogo sanje topje je geza tamje kelu. Daye jola menjo je temye da ne zo te zere na me nyam do pe zende sa jo wonyo je nam je tembe jama ta dewa jendo je je ne pe mo kan je te le ten de la san Chanjo tane chese do chupendo ante
May all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas abiding in the 10 directions and 3 times think of me. I rejoice in their accomplishments of the 2 accumulations. This virtue I offer to the Triple Gem, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May the teachings of Buddha flourish. I dedicate the merit to all sentient beings. May all sentient beings attain enlightenment. May all these virtues gathered together ripen my mind stream by purifying the 2 defilements and accumulate merits. May the life, health, practice, and realization increase. In this lifetime, may I attain the 10 bhumis. When we leave this life, may we be reborn at once in Dewa Chen. After having been born and having awakened as the lotus blooms, at that very moment may I attain enlightenment. After reaching enlightenment, till samsara is empty, may we liberate all sentient beings by virtue of my miraculous powers.
Page number 40. Sonam de ye time jeze panye Tone nye petana panye te Jeganam je palon rupaye Sebe folon ruwa Jamba pave chetan jamba Konde sampo te yante pshende Te da kunje sada loje Gewande da kanje rabdo Sanje ko sanje pechen lanthan Chenye menje ten pechen lanthan Genda mechen de pechen lanthan Chetan shen mo lan de
By this virtue may I achieve the all-knowing state, and by defeating all enemies, confusion, the cause of suffering, may all who travel on the waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death cross the ocean of samsara, in order to train just like the hero Manjushri, who knows reality as it is, and just like Samantabhadra as well. I completely dedicate all this goodness just as they did, by the blessing of the Buddha who attained the three kayas, by the blessing of the truth of the unchanging, changeless nature, by the blessing of the indivisible assembly of the Sangha. May these prayers be accomplished as I have dedicated. By the virtuous accumulations of the three times of myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by this fruit of virtue, may I and all sentient beings swiftly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment.
就生八刚大水有宝，得大观见摩拉这就的切，谢萨空塞空见出结结，天真那拉瓦多这公婆。人间八月天八心的法，写着的三光明真就一。
南无阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，南无阿弥陀佛，南无阿弥陀佛，南无阿弥陀佛。
Due to the road closures around this area by the SEA Games, roads are actually quite jammed this morning. So some participants are actually late. So please, gentle reminder. So the roads are still closed tomorrow. You might like to come earlier so that you will not be late for the session.
各位佛友，随喜你们今天的参与。我们想提醒各位呢，明天早上早一点来会场，因为有可能会交通阻塞，来会场的路途上会交通阻塞，因为我们有这个东南亚的运动会。
So while you're early here, you would like to write some words of gratitude for His Eminence Kachin Rinpoche, and you can put these words of gratitude at the gratitude board behind.
那明天是法会的最后一天，所以你们早到的话呢，其实可以写下你的对卡钦仁波切的感言，然后粘在我们这个感恩专栏。
Tomorrow the session in the afternoon is open for public. The Changchuk Puja and the blessing is open to public. So from 3 p.m. onwards, people can actually come in. So if you like your friends and relatives to join in and to meet Kachin Rinpoche, please do spread the news to them. Thank you.
还有明天我们的祈福与超度法会呢，还有这个加持仪式呢，从3点开始是开放给公众的，所以我们鼓励大家都邀请你们的朋友一起来参与这个殊胜的仪式。
Have a great evening and see you tomorrow.
还有想提醒这些学员的参加者呢，请记得把你的那个牌子还给我们的柜台。还有祝大家有一个愉快的晚上，晚安。
Last thing for the part-timers, please return your name tags, the plastic name tags at the registration counter because we'll be reusing them. Thank you very much for your help. Nam mô A Di Đà